Thanks for joining me for an intro to Dad Talks. And this morning I just want to answer two very simple questions. I want to share with you, who am I? And secondly, I want to answer the question, why Dad Talks? First question, who am I? Well, my name's Alan Henry, and I'm 64 years old. And I want to share maybe describe myself in 4 different relationships. First, I want to share that I am a son of God, and that I grew up in Montana, kind of an all-American family, mom, apple pie, baseball. But as a young adult, I found myself very happy, outgoing, and friendly on the outside. But on the inside, it was a different story. I was empty, I was broken, and I had no purpose or no meaning for my life. And then I met Jesus at the university in 1977. And the verse that triggered my relationship with Christ was in John 10:10. And it says, I came that you might have life and have it overflowing, have it abundantly. And as soon as I heard that verse, I knew that that would become the purpose for my life. It would give me meaning. It would become the focus for my life. And it has. Also want you to know that I'm a husband. Rebecca and I have been married for almost 40 years. Thirdly, I'm a dad. I'm a father of 7 sons and 1 daughter. I now have 5 daughter-in-laws, 3 grandsons, and 1 granddaughter. I love being a dad. And lastly, I'm also a servant. I spent my time professionally as a young man as an officer in the Air Force. I was a pilot and served as a commander. I have served as staff in the local church. I have been in the eldership of churches for more than 30 years. I have served with 3 different nonprofit organizations focused on helping men grow as more effective fathers and husbands, and helping youth develop as leaders in their community, and also providing housing for low-income families. In 2011, I received an unusual call from God. And that call was, would I become a father to the nations? Now, that sounded crazy to me then. It probably still sounds a little crazy to me now. I didn't know what God meant by that, but I knew that the answer had to be yes. And so we said yes. And for the past 7 years, we have been living in northern Vietnam, investing our hearts into the generation of young Vietnamese people who we consider our sons and daughters. So God Talks really began birthed out of that call. And that is, but actually it began a few years prior to that. I began to really think a lot about one word, and that word was legacy. A legacy is, what will you leave behind? And I was captured by that word. One reason why that word was so powerful in my life was because of my own father. I had a wonderful father. Wasn't perfect, but he was a wonderful dad. But he died when I was 37 years old, and I had so many questions about life that I wish I could talk to him about. So many, as I entered into new seasons of being a father and I grew older, I had so many more questions, and I wish I could talk to my dad. But I didn't have any record that he left behind about his walk with God. I only had memories. And so I wanted my children to have more from me than I received from my dad in terms of a legacy. So more than 25 years ago, I've been keeping a journal of my journey with God, my walk with God. And one day those will belong to my children. But I'm afraid that it will not be a complete record of my heart, because my writing was so terrible, and it will be very difficult for them to read and understand. But more recently and more frequently, God began to speak to me about recording my thoughts for the next generation to follow. For not only for my children, but for also for children around the world who really need a father. And so that's how Dad Talks was born. It's designed to be a short and simple reflections on the Word of God from the heart of a father to a son or daughter. So join me for this next time where we'll talk about the storms in life. Thank you for listening.